Hi, Pete Kane here, Podcast Pete, and I wanted to give you a little bit of, I don't know, go live. Yeah, okay. I don't have a premium account. So, anyway, okay. So, February 5th, 2022. The reason I want to give this to you, it's been 3 years since I woke up having had a stroke. But I want to give you a frame of reference because there's a lot of things I learned through the 3 years and continue to learn that I hope I can encourage anybody that would care to listen. All right, it was a Saturday night. I am a pretty much a workaholic, take a lot of breaks. My wife at the time was out of town. My kids were at a birthday party. So I had an evening, a day where I could work, and I did. I created videos, I cleaned up. And so I was in the middle of cleaning up the kitchen and organizing it like I always do. Go back up to finish up my last project, which was a video project. I'm there in front of the computer. Then it happened. My eyes started to burn. I knew something was wrong. And then everything started to shut down on my left side. I kind of knew I was having a stroke, but I didn't at that time know to call 911. So I called my wife at the time, and she was out of town having dinner with her wife up in Richmond. And it was loud. And so she said, "I'll call you later," and hung up. So then I knew my daughter was at a birthday party. So my best chances were to call my son in law because he answers it before my daughter does with four kids or three at the time. So I call him, and my iPhone is sitting on the desk. So I'm able to push buttons. At that time, everything is just dropping, everything is happening. I hit his number, but I hit my brother, both Steve, by mistake. And I call my brother up in Charlotte. And I just found out this past weekend, I thought he said you were drinking and hung up. He couldn't make out the words I was saying. So it was already happening. And he just said something like, "Oh, I can't understand you," or kind of hung up. So I then dialed him again, and I think I got the word stroke out. That activated him, who activated what he was doing is his wife's a nurse, Mary. So they started to make the phone calls. So I lost probably, I don't know, 20 minutes, something like that, by not calling 911. Lesson number one. Something's happened to your body, call 911. I don't know what family was going to do. They were going to do the same thing, but I just didn't connect with that. So I lose valuable time. They come. I know what I'm having. And I think I hear the EMTs from Cherokee saying something about it. What do you think he's having? And I was going like a stroke. Well, they take me down and I throw up on the way down the stairs. I wake up the next day. My left side completely gone in the hospital. I was alive. That was the good news. The journey ahead was the crazy journey. You survive, which is great because none of us make it out of this alive. None of us make it out of this life alive. So I did that night. I survived. That started 10 days in Wellstar and 39 days in Shepherd. I won't tell you about the Wellstar experience. I'll just leave that from another day. But I get the most expensive Uber ride, which was Puckett, $2,500 to go from Wellstar to Shepherd. Most expensive Uber ride ever. Insurance doesn't cover that. So you have to pay out of your pocket $2,500 for an Uber ride. I get down there at Shepherd after not having such a good experience at Wellstar. I was crying trying to get out of that place, but I did. And what happened was the most amazing thing. A team of people, probably 8 to 10 people, I don't know how many, are there to greet you. I remember on a gurney, lifting my body up onto the bed. Felt kind of cool, to be honest with you. And there was a whole team of people greeting you, introducing themselves, talking to you. That was heaven on earth, the start of heaven. That was a journey that I'll never forget. 39 days in a place that is heaven. I know 74 people by name that treated me. I know the people because they care. They care about you. They care about your health. And when you all of a sudden are paralyzed half of your body, it's weird because movement is medicine, as we used to say at Overture. You got to move, but when you can't move, it's terrible. Turning you over is a great thing. Learning to talk, a great thing. Learning to go to the bathroom, a great thing. Learning to take a shower. Learning every basic function. I'll tell you one quick story. Your body gets really messed up. The plumbing's not working. I get there. I had battles with constipation at Wellstar during Super Bowl, the biggest Super Bowl for people that love Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's playing Tom Brady. It was a championship matchup. Great. I was in such pain there because it had been 8 days. The system was not working. When you have constipation, if people tell you that guys don't know what childbirth is all about, well, if you're constipated for 8 to 10 days, 11 days, whatever, you do know pain. It is like the worst I've ever experienced in my life. So I get to Shepherd. They treat me. They get things moving. I'm wearing a diaper. In the morning, the nurse walks in. I don't remember her name specifically right now, but she walks in with the biggest smile, and I've got the biggest smile. And she says, because this is the second day I'm there, she says, "You're happy." And I said, "Well, my happiness is probably not going to be your happiness." And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, 10 days of stuff is in my diaper. And she just is like to roll off her tongue. It's no problem. We do that all the time. It was the greatest feeling I've ever had to finally get the plumbing going. That started the most incredible experience because when you are learning to do basic functions and all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're paralyzed, half your body, you didn't ask for it, it happened, but you got to deal with it. And you have to understand that the journey ahead is going to be a tough one. So my lesson to anybody that's listening is when you're in the middle of the storm, lean into it. Do the best you can. Have fun. I had fun with the people coming in there. I just felt that they were so special, that taking care of me was so, it was just warms your heart to know what they do down there. I get emotional just talking about it. Every single card that came, they greeted you. I even wanted to be a male person when I got out of there because every card that came, and I appreciate every single card, was like God sending a message. We're behind you. We're, whatever encouraging word that was said was felt. And that place is so special. And I'll take you to about 2 weeks out. I'm learning everything. It's during COVID. You're wearing masks, and I wasn't one to wear a mask, but I had to function and go around that in the place. So when I went out of the room, I had to put the mask on. So when Anya said to me, when I was there, it was the start of the Ukraine war. She was from Ukraine, had family there. So we got to talking through that journey. And she said, "Can I share something personal with you?" And I said, "Absolutely. I mean, I'm not going anywhere." She said, "The type of stroke you had, people don't survive. And if they do, they're a lot worse. So a little angel was watching over you." And I'll always remember that because it was like God saying, "I saved you. Now go out and tell your story." Now, at the time, I didn't have much of a story besides trying to learn how to eat, learning how to walk, learning how to do everything. Because you can't do anything when half your body's not working. You got to learn how to eat again, talk again, walk again, shower, go to the bathroom. Every single thing you got to learn. So when you're in the middle of a storm, I mean, it's not like you're celebrating. But I remember the first time I go in to talk to the neuro there, and this is when they do a kind of a check to see how you're doing. And I wheel in there, and she says, "How are you doing?" Because this is like, it's not something you were thinking you were going to be there. So she's concerned. She leans in and says, "How are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing great. I've always been positive." But she goes, "No, no, no." And she leans into me and she goes, "How are you doing?" Like, you know how you say hello to somebody and they say, "Doing great," but they just say it. I think she felt that was just not a sincere answer. And I said, "Doctor, if you knew my life, this isn't that big of a deal." Now, I'll take you back to give you a frame of reference because it does trauma and stress and your life, because PTSG is post traumatic stress growth. We grow through our trauma. Look at your life, the tough times in your life. We have an opportunity to grow, or we let that trauma own us. If we grow, we're better. Back when I started, when I was in high school, I failed English, didn't graduate, didn't know what was going on at the time. I was always in remedial reading and play, so I kind of knew that something wasn't clicking, but I didn't even come close to passing English. And that was the first year they decided not to give people a blank diploma. You had to earn it, which is good. I mean, heck, you should have to earn it. But I'm picking up range balls when my class is graduating. That was the first kind of sign that something ain't right. So I go to summer school, I graduate. Then I go to Virginia Tech. I last 2 quarters, grades terrible. I left before I failed out. I go home and I start working, and I go back the next year thinking, get out of the dorm, get out of distraction, get around get in a quieter place. And I get an apartment with a couple guys. I last 1 quarter and I leave before I flunk out. So 2 times at Virginia Tech, I'm going, dang, what is going on? Because I'm not getting the lecture. When they're lecturing, I'm just not getting it. I'm just not processing the words. And this was well before tape recorders and all these other things that you could bring into the class. So I get tested, and they find out that I'm dyslexic and ADD. Don't know what that all means. All I know is academics is not my thing. So that starts a 40-year journey of drugs, legal drugs, Adderall, Ritalin. And every time I tried to get off of them, I'd crash because I didn't have the skills to function. And I didn't have, with dyslexia, I can't, if you have me put a sentence together, I'm going to misspell half the words. And it was before voice to text. I voice to text everything now. I use Alexa, I use Siri, I use every kind of aid to ask how to spell words. And I say that because when I was at Shepherd, having trauma was part of my life because when you grow up dyslexic, I had auditory and written. So writing out things, I couldn't spell words. They didn't just function. So it was before dyslexia. They have programs for them now, but it was well before that. Then finally, 20 years later in that journey, I, I get a grant to the Shank School, which is a dyslexia school here in Atlanta, pretty known one down in Buckhead. And I remember taking the test, and she said, you do have dyslexia. However, you're going to see degrees of it in this class, and you're going to be able to see how other people have to function with it. And she was right. Adults not able to read anything, not able. You could tell they were just in a the funk of, I don't know what to say, but it was heartbreaking. But she did tell me one thing. Google had voice to text. That was the first introduction to something that could voice to text. I started using that, but I was not using it on a computer. I was using it on a phone. So I would do it on the computer, transfer it to the phone. There was a bunch of steps to be able to function and use it. Fast forward, I went through so many bouts of depression because every single time I would try to get off the drug, I would crash. I was addicted to the drug. And that's a story for another day. But if you're out there and you have the active brain, like we do as ADD people, I don't have H. I'm not a hyperactive, but I have an active brain. You take that with dyslexia, now it's my superpower. But back then it was not. It was some dark times. And I tell you that you go through tough times in life. And although the storm is not like fun and games, there's lessons that we learn if we just do the best we can through the storms that we go through and show up every day, because every day that you're alive is a blessing. I have what they call mortality motivation. I consider every day a blessing because I live every day like it's my last, because one day I'm going to be right. So I appreciate the smallest of things. Never looked at it that way. When you're in the middle of the storm, all you're doing is thinking of yourself. And when you think only of yourself, your mind just gets all messed up. That's why you always got to serve, help people, serve. You want to feel better? Serve. Help somebody else. You're going through tough time, help somebody else. So I tell you that I am 67 today. I mean, not today, but today. I'm 67. I don't own a car. I own nothing. What I own is in a 10 by 10 self-storage unit. Is that a problem? Not at all, because family, friends, and relationships are so important. Because I academically was not a scholar, I never got an A that I can ever remember in my life until one day, about a year later, they were doing a study. Shepherd got a grant and they were studying the left side of the brain. So they called me and asked me if I wanted to participate. Again, you just want to give back because all the people, Becca, Jen, Emily, and Sydney were my team. They were awesome. I think Becca, Jen, and Emily are still there. You know how much you mean to me. The card games, the fun games, they make life fun. Even though your body's messed up, they're teaching you the basics, how to walk, how to talk, how to do the basic things, how to put a shirt on, take a shirt off with one hand. That's a story for another day. But I say that I go back to Shepherd, and it was like being in heaven on earth, a special place. I even interviewed Jamie Shepherd afterwards. I could not figure out how on earth, because insurance does the reimbursement. They were so focused on the patient. It just blew me away. Even one day when I'm in the in the in the cafeteria, Jamie comes by. Jamie Shepherd, he's now the president, and says, "Hey Pete, how you doing?" I'm like, "What?" That's my name. I didn't have a name tag on, but he did, and he's the kind of person. And I did interview him on my podcast. And I kept asking them all the questions, and I did contribute to them so I could see how they interact with their donors. And I can see everything. That is a well-run rehab place. If you're not in Atlanta, you may not have heard of it, but Shepherd Center is a special place. So I go back down there, and they're doing a study. I'm in an MRI tube, eyes open for 90% of the time. So I think it's 45 minutes and 35 minutes I have to have my eyes open. You're in this tube. It wasn't that big of a deal. But anyway, the guy that was running is a golfer. We were talking, having a fun time. I go to take a test, a cognitive test. And it's about a 20, 25-minute test, something like that, a bunch of questions. So I finished the test, and I remember him, the gentleman, I won't say his name because maybe I don't know. You better not. I shouldn't. I already told him name. But anyway, he looks at me and he goes, and he's looking at you like you got three eyes. Like you can tell when somebody's like confused or looking at you. And he said, "Have you ever taken this test before?" And I said, "No. Why you ask?" He said, "You didn't miss a question." Now, I about fell out of my chair because that, in my eyes, was the first day I ever got in my life. I had been retraining my brain through Jim Quick and the Brain Coach. So I had been working and working and working and working on retraining my brain, trying to reprogram, rewire it. And if I got validation that it was working. So I tell you that to say, no matter where you are, use this thing. Every single morning, I spend the first 3 to 5 hours thinking. I think, I journal, I plan, I implement. I think, I journal, I plan, and I implement. I've been doing that. I get up at 2:33 every day. And I have 3 days in one because look, before electricity, everybody went to bed when it got dark. Now we have computers and all these things, so we just stretch our day out. I decided that from 3 to 9, 6 hours, that's one day. 9 to 3, that's 2 days. And then 3 to the rest, that's my third day. So 3 6-hour days. And I plan accordingly so I can get more done. I have an absolute blast. got into podcasting when my partner, I used to have a digital marketing business, probably gave me a stroke along with some other things. But the thing is I got to a point where I wasn't having to write. I wasn't having to communicate through writing. I could speak for a living. And then my partner, we put together a team in the Philippines. At the time, hired 20 some people, but it got too big, too quick, and they couldn't manage it. So he came to me and he said, Pete, I got to shut it down. They're driving me crazy. I can't manage it. Do you want Trexa? Because she's the best of the bunch. And I said, yes. And that was well over 2 years ago. She's an absolute, the sweetest girl you ever want to meet. She's like my daughter. She's young enough to be my daughter. We talk just about every day. Monday and Wednesday, we talk for about an hour going over different things. She hired and we have 2 people now. Rolando, this is for you. Because I wanted Trexa to have a community because it's 13 hours different. So I get up early for that. But I get up because all I do is talk. I do what I do best is talk, not write, not put all these things together. She does all the other stuff. She puts the graphics together. She does the podcast. She does all the things that I used to do that drove me crazy. So outsource the things that you don't do best. Do one thing and do it really well. Do it really well. That's why starting out, all we do is podcast, publish, and build communities. You see this picture right here? That's my first outing. First time I got outside when I was at Shepherd. Went fishing. I'm not a fisherman, but I love fishing that day. I even hooked Jen that day because I didn't know what that guy was doing. But being outside, there's something magical. And that is our magazine, one of our many magazines that we're doing. But I tell you that to do it, do what you do best. Whatever it is. If you're curious and you love to learn, because when you look right down, let me see, Growth Day, right there, sponsored by Growth Day. Let me see here. Let me see. Remove. Oh, shoot. No, I'm trying to. Oh, there we go. Growth Day. Okay. Invest in yourself. That's probably been one of my secret strategies as I learn. I invest. Brendan Bouchard, who is the founder of Growth Day, he's been a coach for 20 some years, building the largest community on the planet. And he speaks to us every day during the Daily Fire. It's called Growth Streaks and 5 to Survive. You can do 7 days to try it out. Have him speak to you. Just Google him. But if you go to petekane.me/growth day, and then you email us at support, I'll give you our course on mindset, goals, and habits. Because it's really about mindset, setting goals, and good habits. And habits, like Atomic Habits, is a whole different area of perfection. But you get in Growth Day, there's like, I don't know, between 300 and a half a million people in it, about 60, 70 countries. You get him talking to you every day, giving you unique frameworks that you can apply. I heard Brendan 10 years ago, lost track of him when Barbara Hemphill, I was working with her in LA, and she said, hey, I've got the ticket to this Experts Academy up in San Francisco. Do you want to go with me? I said, sure. And I did. And I was just amazed at the guy. He did a whole weekend. And I was like, man, is that good? But I just I don't know what happened, but I lost track. And I was listening to a podcast, Ed Milet had him on his show, and he mentions Growth Day. I went, dang, what is that? So I Google it and I see it and I sign up. And back then it was 14 days. I tried and went, holy mackerel, this is incredible. He had his 6 habits. He had his one course in there, all kinds of great stuff. And I was just learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and getting better and better. And each day he was talking to me. I've never missed a daily fire, never missed in 10 months, maybe 11 now. Never missed one, every single one, because it's unique and it goes away at midnight. And I take my journal when I listen to it so I can take that framework and put it down and apply it. And I tell you that no matter what you're doing, invest in yourself because you're the best investment. We say on our podcast, the magic is in you and anything is possible. Anything is possible. So let me go back and take this off here. Okay. So I tell you this to share with you. No matter what you're going through, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope. And we are in the most explosive time of my lifetime and your lifetime, no matter how old you are, because there's 5 trends coming out right now. There's the digital revolution. There's the entrepreneurial revolution. There's the AI revolution. There's the crypto revolution. And there's the mobile revolution. 5. Then if you throw personal development as the 6th, wow, you've got it all. And if you can recognize that, and I'm going to give you a gift because the gift that came to me were my family, my friends, and the people at Shepherd and everybody that I touched along the way who helped me through a tough time. I'm 3 years later. I've gone through, 6 or 7 PTs. I mean, the journey's crazy, but I get better each day. Now, can I get, look at that. That's PT Solutions right there. I'm about 3-4 inches higher than I was on my last PT because Carla, you're the best. She's the best I've had. She busts my butt every time I get in there. But let me go back. And I want to help encourage you because through all this, through the craziness, and there's another story for another day, but I spent the better part of 2 years with my partner, Jeff, building this company. This company now is ready to take off like a rocket. And the fuel to that rocket is right here. And I want to give it to you. I want to give it to you in an ecosystem. If you go to petekane.me/masterclass, that is your gift. 10 steps, 5, 10. 10 steps to grow and scale your business by 10x. Because it's easier to grow it by 10x than it is by 2x. There's even a book out there. But I want to encourage you because I saw so many businesses fail because they didn't have the right mindset. You put Growth Day, which is our number 5 on this masterclass. You embrace Growth Day and you're going to embrace the framework because when you see what's available to you, it's going to blow your mind. And you're going to see it for a couple dollars a day. You can have Brendon Burchard, who works with billionaires, has worked with presidents, has worked with the A-listers, the celebrities, the CEOs, all the top people, because they can hire anybody, but they hire him. He certified me as a certified high performance coach. And I have coaches. I have been coached and are currently coached by a high performance coach. That's number 3 in the masterclass. Number 2 is what you're looking at right now, digital assets. You got to create digital assets. That's why we do so many. Google my name, Pete Kane, put podcast in there, Pete Podcast, Pete, whatever you want. We have plenty of assets out there. You'll see it. Then Google your name and see what your name looks like. A website, a LinkedIn profile, we're not going to do it today. You got to do what Daniel Priestley believes, because key person of influence is the new strategy for at least the last couple of years. If you've listened to him, he'll talk to you about 7-11-4. 7-11-4. People have to consume 7 hours of you, because basically there's a messy middle. If you look at the top 1%, then you look at the next 9%, that's 60% of the people that are going to support whatever you're doing. And then in that middle is the ones you got to feed the middle, the messy middle. And you got to feed them by giving them you. So listening to you, understand they're going to move through that process, because the more they get to know you, the more they like you, trust you, and want to do business with you. You look at the recent elections. One did long form podcasting, one did not. One won, one didn't. So whether you like Donald Trump or not, most of it, 99.9% of it, has been fabricated by people that are scared of him, because he is making things happen. And he did Joe Rogan 3 hours. You can't fool anybody for 3 hours. Why didn't she go on that Joe Rogan show? She was afraid people would get to know her. She would be afraid that you can't control the narrative like the media did for you. But podcasting is the future. If you're a CEO out there, you have to be a key person of influence. Everybody buys from people. They don't buy from companies. Look at Elon Musk. He's got a bunch of companies. Do you even know some of the companies he has? No. Look at Apple. It was Jobs. Now it's Tim Cook. Look at Oprah. She's got so many companies, but it's Oprah. You look at Megyn Kelly. She's got a bunch of companies, but it's Megyn Kelly. All these are people buy from. People. So I had a person on LinkedIn said, I'm a low-key guy, or wanted to take a low-key approach. Well, you're missing an opportunity, because they don't buy from companies. They buy from people. And so if you're a key person of interest, that's what our community is all about. That's why we publish magazines like that. That's why we activate an authoritative book. That's why we build thriving communities of 20 people at a time, because you have to be a key person of influence if you want the future. Now, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Obviously, not everybody wants that. That's fine. But if you're online and you want to create digital asset, podcasting, online courses, that's our number 2. Our number 4 is the magazine right here. So if you want to go see it, let me see. I got it here. Yeah, there we go. Check out KP Communities at pkane.me/magazine, and you can see. You want to be on my podcast? Oh, I'd love to have you. I love guests. I've learned so much from my podcast guests. So much. And I love it. I could do it 15 hours a day. But take an assessment so I can know a little bit about you, and I'll have you on my show. And if you're a nice person and want to give and make an impact, want to be a key person of influence, we'll invite you to join our community. And our community is, let me give you this, we are now having virtual summits every Saturday. We teach our community how to do 5-minute talks, 3 points. 5 minutes, 3 points. So we're starting our virtual summit. That'll be this Saturday. You want to speak? You have to speak after you're on the podcast. So anybody that has been on the podcast can apply to speak. Doesn't cost you anything. We want to highlight. We want to show you by understanding. People don't want necessarily, if they ask you what you do, you can't spend 30 minutes trying to explain it. You have to be precise with what your message is. 5 minutes, 3 points. 5 minutes, 3 points. Now, you want to get our free course, that's number 9 on the master class, which is PeteKane.me/AI. That's my partner, Jeff Bourgeois. Google him. Go to LinkedIn. He runs Big Thinker Universe. He's written more books than most. I believe he has the world's record of it, but I don't know for sure. But he wrote about 300 books last year. And one of his books, let me see. Here we go. There's one of them. Here's my book. I started out with golf, but I quickly switched. And let me see. Here's his workbook on writing a book. So the 12 P's. That's the workbook there. So I tell you that you're the magic. Anything is possible, no matter what you go through. And look, I don't play golf anymore. I was playing 5 days a week. I tried it one-handed, but I just didn't do it. I'll play occasionally, but I used to play 5 days a week. Get up at 5, work like a Comanche, and then go to Pine Tree at 5 o'clock and play. And I ran on 20-some peach trees, but I don't run anymore, and I don't play golf on a regular basis. I hope to someday, but not now. So I tell you this to tell you that the opportunity for you, we are building key person of influence communities. We build one magazine at a time. And we're coming out with some bonuses later in the week to really kick this off. It's been 3 years since I had my stroke. And in a way, that stroke was a blessing. Yeah, I can't run, don't play golf, but I podcast and I meet people. And you can't see it, but I have 2 different color shoes. And the reason I'm not colorblind, like my partner, I just want people to talk to me. Because when I had my brace on and I had a cane, people just don't know. I don't know what it is, but if you're different, you're physically challenged, people don't talk to you. So I wanted to break the ice so people would say, hey, look, hey, you got 2 color shoes? And I've had so much fun with just the conversations. I just want to talk to people. I enjoy talking to people. So I tell you this, even though it's been 3 years since my stroke, I've had many days where I've cried, many days where I've laughed, because my emotional part of my brain was affected. I have a hard time if I go into deep subjects like this. I want to thank sincerely the people that supported me. I had financial support from an anonymous source and from a source that I went to high school with. Without that, I don't know where I'd be, because everything stopped. I was self-employed, and so many people, friends, flying in. Walt, Mike, Fred, they flew in just to spend the day. Fred was in Asheville, drove down from Asheville one day and drove back up to Asheville because he was seeing his daughters in Asheville just for lunch. Walt flew in just to spend a day. Mike drove up from Tampa just to spend the day. Yeah. Okay. That means a lot. So even today, have nothing, no cost. I mean, nothing. I got my golf clubs, but they're in the self-storage unit. but I am so thankful that I'm alive. So thankful that I have a chance to help people change their life. Because we say on our podcast, be bold, make an impact, and have fun. Be bold, make an impact, and have fun. Because don't wait. So many people wait till they retire. And you have a lot of goals, but if you don't have your health, you only have one goal: get your health back. So take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take it seriously. The average person, I have to talk about something besides. So the average person watches 4 hours of TV and 2 hours of social scrolling. That's 6 hours. You're awake 16, 18 hours. That's a third of your life you're consuming. God created us to create. Create something. Whatever it is, create it. We don't need to consume everybody else's life. Live your life. You're the magic. And anything is possible. But if you're living your life through other people, whether it's on social media or through the TV and through celebrities and through the shows, nothing wrong with entertainment. But 4 hours and 2 hours, 6 hours of your day consuming, why don't you spend a quarter of that creating? Join us. Help us help you. We have a podcast academy. Let me see. I think I got it up here. Oh, yeah. What the heck? Oh, no. Let me see. I'll probably find it in just a second. But if I don't, yeah, I do. Here it is. Man, I love it when a plan comes together. You go to PeteKane.me/PA. That's our podcast academy. And if you've been on my podcast, which a lot of people have, I think I've done 350 podcasts, maybe more. You can flip the script and you can interview me and we'll do it. Interview me. You want to ask me any question. Because if you can be a key person of influence in this day and age and practice Dan Priestley's KPI system, which is key person of influence, 7-11-4. 7 hours they got to consume of you make 11 buying signals. A buying signal is various things. It's the 0 moment of truth with Google. Buying signals like, hey, I'm interested. I want more. I want to read your book. I want to order your book. I want to order your white paper. I want to listen to your webinar. I want to comment. I want to just showing buying signals. I want to take an assessment. Those are buying signals. When they do 7-Eleven and they do it on 4 different platforms, they know, like, and trust you. And when they know, like, and trust you in the digital world, because it's not what you think, it's what Google says you are. And that's Google me, then Google you. That's the opportunity for you. That's the difference, that gap. And we're just getting started. Because every time you go through trauma, you get stronger. I was just talking to my friend Joe Rivera. He's got an incredible story. And we talked about persistence. We talked about purpose. We talked about that relationship that he has with his creator. That's his most important thing now. And it is to me too. I read my Bible every single day. I read a chapter of Proverbs every single day because I don't take for granted. I'm not busy anymore. My priority is Jesus. I'm a Christian and I take my relationship seriously. I invest in people. I invest in helping you. I remember, let me go back to Shepherd. I remember I would beg the night nurse to get me out of bed at 5:00 because they had the shift at 7. And they would put me in my wheelchair and I'd wheel out, grab a cup of coffee and meet every person that came in for that shift at 7. because 1-7 it got too crazy. So I would get out there early, greeting every single person from the cafeteria, loving every minute of it, because I saw sunshine coming into the building, people that were making a difference in people's lives. And if you can serve at that capacity, there's nothing finer. And those people, Becca, Jen, Emily, and Sydney, she's no longer there. I heard she was a recreation therapist. But Emily was my OT. Jen was my speech path. I had wonderful card games, Kings in a Corner. And Becca, oh my gosh, she's a saint. She just helped me walk again. And my gosh, see, I haven't been on social in 2 years. That's why I kind of wanted to do this on my third year, because I'm not out there. So nobody even knows. Am I still walking? Am I still around? I mean, I'm talking about people not in this town. But I am having the time of my life, enjoying every single day, being present, appreciating the grandkids, going on dates with my grandkids on Friday, and my dates with my daughters, hanging out with my son-in-laws when I can. And those are the kind of things that mean something. Relationships are key. Don't be so busy you don't develop relationships. If you want to go out with somebody to lunch, bring a friend and have that person meet that person. But do it. Invest in your relationships. Glenn Pearson, who's now on the West Coast, he would always call you. Everybody knows him as intentional relationship. Hey, I have plenty of people go, hey, let's have lunch sometime. I say, okay, let's get the calendar out. I'll call you back. Never do. But Glenn would call you and say, hey, look, what's your schedule look like next week? And then we'd put a date together and we'd go out to lunch or breakfast or coffee or whatever. He valued relationships. He poured into guys. He's a little bit older than me, not much, but he's now with grandkids on the West Coast. Anyway, I tell you that to invest in relationships, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's your business relationships, whether it's your mentors, invest in relationships. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a last little thing here. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, that's on Wednesday, which is today, but we're going to start that next week, where we want to connect you. We want to connect, learn, and grow at petekane.me/connect. This is 3:00 where we want to introduce people to the key person of influence. Why? Because by being a key person of influence, meaning you're out there, people are going to Google you when they meet you. They're just going to flat Google you. If they don't see you, they're just going to move on. But if they see you and get to know you in the digital space, there's a good chance they're going to want to do something with you. So our whole community is about podcast, publish, and build thriving communities. If you're a corporate professional out there, which I was for a number of years, and you want to transition to entrepreneurship, you have a skill, you don't know really what to do, we'll help you. Our Podcast Academy will. We are our avatar, our third avatar is petekane.me/entrepreneur. Because, or it may have been corporate professional, I'm not sure on that. But the thing is, you got to have a roadmap. And the roadmap to freedom is through entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs of the world solve the problems. Big corporations are like big government. They're so big, they're like a super tanker trying to navigate through the ocean. You want to be a speedboat. A speedboat is small, lean, quick, because AI's hitting. And man, if you don't know and understand AI, well, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be left behind. So go to my partner's website. Just put the word in AI after petekane.me, and you'll get Jeff's free course because you got to implement it in your business. You have to. If you don't, you're going to be left behind. Put it in your business. Don't be so busy. I have other videos out, podcasts on. Don't be caught on the busy bus. The busy bus is distracting, noisy. Be on the purpose plane. Live your life with purpose where it's quiet and you go above. You go to one destination, one thing. Do the one thing. The one thing. If you like podcasting and we show you, all you do is show up and talk. Now, there's more to it than that, but that's all you have to do is be the best at communicating, connecting. And I'm going to continue to get better because I work on it every single day through Growth Day. Go to Growth Day, 7 days free. Then if you like it, it's $50 a month. That's an investment in you. And if you go to petekane.me/growth day, then email us at support@petekane.me. We'll send you our free course. We're an ambassador for them. That's why they sponsor a lot of our programming, because we're an ambassador. We believe so much in personal development. The growth streaks, the 5 to strive makes a difference in you. The magic is in you, and anything is possible. You just got to activate you, and Growth Day will help you do that. So as I wind down, we have our live events. That's number 6, I believe. And that's our next one is the 22nd at Grace Church. That's my family over the last couple of years, still is. But I mean, they were there to help me when I was going through a tough time. Another story, another day. But we get together and we connect with people. We teach. We encourage people to be speakers. 5 minutes, 3 topics. 5 minutes, 3 topics. And you can be involved in that. And get on my podcast. Go to petekane.me. Let me see. Just put, petekane.me and take an assessment. And that is just a short assessment. Gives me an idea who you are. So when you're on the podcast, I know a little bit about the questions to ask you. And I want to just encourage you that be bold, make a difference, and have fun. We create lifestyle businesses. That means don't wait till you retire to enjoy yourself. Enjoy it along the way. Have some fun. Be around a community of strivers. Be around a community of people that have purpose, people that are looking to make an impact. And if you're not there, be around us. It'll wear off on you. Just get better every single day. You see, living and having mortality motivation changes you forever, because God spared me that day. And it was probably the 7th time that happened. Not that I went through strokes, but I'm just saying, having the mindset when you're in a dark place and your mind plays games on you, you want to be around people. And just know that, hey, look, we all struggle. There ain't nobody that gets out of this without a struggle. It just happens. But how we live our life, the impact we make, and the joy we bring, and the purpose we bring to each conversation, each person makes a difference. So I've gone a little bit longer than I anticipated. Didn't have any idea what I was going to do, but I wanted to bring something to you on the 3rd year anniversary. If you go to petekane.me, then we have some PDFs for you. And you /PDFs, a couple of free PDFs. We want to give you plenty of gifts. So, because I had the gift of life, so I want to give you the gift of life for your business. Because you are magic. You are the magic. And anything's possible. So be bold, make a difference, and have fun. Be bold, make a difference, and have fun. And let me put one more thing up there. Our opportunity is starting because we're going to build We're putting 250 of these magazines out this year. If you want to be a part of it, part of that community, part of a community of strivers, community of key persons of interest, of influence, join us. Join us and make a difference. So thank you so much. Be bold, make a difference. Be bold, make an impact, and have fun.